First things first, we've got 5th-seeded Peter Elzinga of the Netherlands taking on the 4th-seeded Pierre-Julien Deloche of France, who has just seen his countrymen go down to defeat.
Yeah, never a good thing, but also he'll probably be thinking, right, this is my time to prove that France is a top compound nation, which they are.
So all eyes looking on in anticipation as Elzinga and Deloche get set to do battle. Peter Elzinga, once ranked #1 in the world. That was way back in June of 2005. He's now ranked 12th in the world. Comes in as the 5th seed here at the World Cup Finals.
In recent years, Peter's world ranking has dropped down a bit, but his shooting in the ranking rounds has been phenomenal. He's had several world records, and world records not by just 1 or 2 points. He's really jumped up on the main feed around now. He's got the top score, and it's a 14.19 out of 14.40, and that's just phenomenal shooting. So if he can move that shooting from the ranking round onto the elimination field, he would be dominating. But he's just not quite got it together over the last few years. But yeah, he can shoot. There's no doubt about that.
Well, he'll have to get it together today if he's going to defeat Pierre-Julien Deloche, 30 years old, 3rd in the world. This year in 2012, Deloche picked up a team silver medal in Las Vegas at the Indoor Championships. Then at Stage 1 in Shanghai, also picked up a team silver medal. Got a bronze at Stage 3 in Ogden, defeating Christopher Perkins along the way, 146 to 139. So here we go. Our 3rd quarterfinal match. Rio Wild in the wings. But first things first, and a 10 to start it off for Pierre-Julien Deloche.
Perfect start to the match. Let's see if Peter can also get that first crucial arrow dead on center.
You talked about the stabilizer, and there was a good example there on Elzinga's bow of that downward stabilizer.
Yeah, both these archers actually shooting quite a traditional, quite a common setup where it was Genet was doing something a little bit different.
9 points.
9 for Deloche.
I think for Peter's world record for the 50-meter round, which is 50 meters what we're shooting here, out of 36 arrows, I think he dropped 2 points.
So that gives the heart rate on the screen.
Yeah, it's not bad.
A little bit higher.
I still think mine would be. I thought we might be seeing some in the 90s, but there we go.
Well, what's been interesting, Michael, is to note that it seems to me as though the ladies seem to have a little bit lower heart rate than the gentlemen.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I don't want to generalize, but maybe the ladies are more calm and collected than the guys are.
Maybe.
We're a little more high-strung.
Or maybe we need to wait till the final, till everything's on the line, and then we can see in the gold medal match what those heart rates get up to.
Yeah, I imagine they'll go up even a little bit higher. So there you go. The first 3 arrows have been shot. 28 points for Peter Elzinga, 29 points for Pierre-Julien Deloche. And so Deloche takes the 1-point lead after the first end, and there's a beautiful shot. And you can see the trajectory of those arrows.
That's going pretty flat. So that would be going at about 300 feet per second.
Of course, tomorrow the trajectory will be much more of an arc towards that target 70 meters away.
Absolutely. Recurve arrows are much more down. Instead of being 300 feet per second, they're down at like 200 feet per second. And of course, with the further distance, we need to add in that extra bit of trajectory.
I'll tell you what, we invent that little camera that we put on the tip of the arrow, we'll have something.
Well, if we're still here talking about this 10, 20 years from now, we'll be so proud that we predicted it all those years back.
It will happen. We'll call it Arrow Cam. Second end about to begin. That stabilizer, you can see that pointing down.
9 points.
Another 9. So Peter's already dropped 3 points, whereas for his world record he shot 36 arrows and only dropped 2 points. So you can see he's not at his potential. His potential is so close to perfect.
9 points. 1 point lead
The lead remains at 1 for Deloche over Elzinga. And Elzinga, as you said, in elimination rounds has had some big wins, has beaten people like Braden Galantine and Pierre-Julien Deloche before in a semifinal showdown. So he's had that experience, but he's got to translate that and bring it out here to this stage.
Yes, he does. He's been double. He's been European champion indoors and out, so he's got the he can win. He can win shoots. He can win titles. There's no doubt about that.
Well, right now Elzinga's hanging around, hanging in there, just 1 point back, and a long way to go in this match. It's early on, only in the second end, and Elzinga trailing by 1, but that 10 picks things up.
It does. Of course, he's coaching the box here is Olympic bronze medalist Wietse van Houten. That was back at the Sydney Games.
And a 9 ties it up at 56 all.
Yeah, good shots. You know, there's nothing wrong with Deloche's execution, so he just must not be quite steady enough on the aim. There's Wietse. If I was going to choose someone to have behind me, someone who's won an Olympic medal would be high on that list, I think.
And once again, beautiful shot showing you the release and the flight of the arrow here in Tokyo, which is hosting its first truly major archery event in some 30 years. Since I believe the Olympic Games were held here in Tokyo.
Which is a surprise because over the years they've had many a top great archer, but
there's a great archer.
That is a great archer.
Juan Carlos Holgado, a great archer in his time, still a great archer, and the man who runs the show for the World Archery Federation. He's responsible for us being here, partly responsible for us being here at this beautiful setting at Hibiya Park in downtown Tokyo. So we're tied at 56 all going to the third end. Carl Larkey along with Michael Parrott, and we hope you're enjoying the action here on archery.tv. Good shot.
I was just about to say that both these athletes really need to start tightening up their groups, and they can't keep on dropping these 9s.
So both picking it up, raising the level of their game, so to speak. So Pierre-Julien Deloche, who came in here off of a bronze medal performance at stage 3 in Ogden, where he defeated Christopher Perkins, and he puts 2 10s back to back.
Yeah, and that's world champion Christopher Perkins as well. So that's a real good scalp to have. And he was unlucky in Shanghai. He went up against his teammate in the semi-final. We had an all-French semi-final, and he lost that, and then he ended up in 4th. So it's been but all in all, he said it's been a good season. Again, he's proud to be here with the cream of the crop at the World Cup final.
That, my friends, is grouping.
That is.
That is what you call grouping. 3 beautiful 10s grouped together by Pierre-Julien Deloche of France.
And we might think he'd be happy with that, but I can tell you he would have given his side just a couple of clicks, because even though it was a fantastic group and even though it was in the 10, that was not central, that was low, so he will just give the sight probably like 0.2 of a millimeter down just to try and bring them to the middle, because you can't afford to do a slightly low shot and then drop a point. So you're always trying to center the group dead centered. Shooting a 10 isn't necessarily mean everything's hunky-dory.
So I'm sure some of that going through the mind of Pierre-Julien Deloche right now as he tries to do what his countryman Dominique Genet could not, and that is advance to the semifinals here at the Archery World Cup in Tokyo, the 7th annual Archery World Cup. Of course, last year we were in beautiful Istanbul on the shores of the Bosphorus.
Yes,
2 years ago was Edinburgh.
Beautiful.
They have had some wonderful locations for these World Cup finals, iconic locations. And we have found another one here in Tokyo today amidst the high rises of this amazing city of 30 million people. We have found an oasis of peace and quiet here for the archery competition.
It's almost perfectly designed. It's like the space within the trees within the park is just enough for us to hold this fantastic event. So yeah, maybe it was always in the plan. The skyscrapers on the skyline as well is fantastic.
Peter Elzinga trailing by 1.
Prima jongen, linksonder.
Fires a 10.
Oké, man.
Stays right in the match.
Rijd je voor op je volgende.
And all of these athletes are pleased to be in Tokyo. Everyone thinks it's a cool place, somewhere different. So everyone was, it's proud to be at the shoot, the World Cup final. But it's also great that it's always in such a special place.
An incredible city. In fact, we're not too far from the Imperial Palace, which was built back in 1590. So many sights, so many things to see. But right now, the concentration is on the archery, and Peter Elzinga is dialed in right now. He is focused. 2 straight 10s.
See, he done 2 10s. They're a bit low, and he just reached forward and just gave his side a couple of clicks just to try and raise them up. Keep them as close to that X in the middle as you can.
So Elzinga, trailing by 1 at the start of the end, now leads by 1 after the first 2 arrows. But the 9 right there will create an opportunity for Pierre-Julien Deloche to tie this up with a 10. Back and forth we go here in this third quarterfinal match for the men. The ladies have had their say, and there is a 9. So Deloche unable to take advantage of the opportunity.
Yep. Just shot it right out the other side.
So Peter Elzinga getting some good coaching right now. It's all going to come down to focus, concentration, and keeping control of those nerves. Great look at Elzinga and his release.
To me, it always amazes me how much the sights on the bow, because these are solid aluminium, really rigid, and yet when the bow shoots, they just wobble like they're a piece of jelly. I assure the watchers it's not. They are machined from a solid block of aluminium. They are incredibly stiff, and yet the force going through these bows, shooting out the arrows at 300 feet per second, it just sends a shockwave through the whole system.
So here we go, down to the final 3 arrows. Peter Elzinga of the Netherlands trying to pull off another upset. It's been a day of upsets. And Dino Berga.
You see, there is some wind there. That's maybe things are getting a little bit. The flags on the target still seem pretty still there, but maybe there is some breeze on the line.
Ooh, a 9 for Deloche, who can ill afford to shoot 9s at this point.
He's chasing his arrows around the target. It seems around the 9 ring anyway.
Elzinga with a golden opportunity right here, and he does not let this one pass.
Nope.
En die volgende.
He means business.
The pressure on the shoulders of Pierre-Julien Deloche, and Deloche comes up with a 10, but it's getting late in the day.
A much needed 10.
Now he has put his fate in the hands of Peter Elzinga, and you can't group much better than that.
No. It's great though. That was one of my questions when they introduced the Hawkeye. What are we going to do when 2 arrows go right next to each other? They just told me no problem.
So a strong finish for Pierre-Julien Deloche. But Deloche can only sit back and watch. If Elzinga shoots an 8, we're going to a shoot-off. If he shoots a 9, he wins it, and he got it.
It was getting close to the 8 there. That wasn't quite as comfortable as maybe it should have been, but a win's a win. You're through to the next round. It doesn't matter what the score was. As long as you're in the next round, you're still alive, you're still fighting, and that title is still within Peter's grasp.
Big smile on the face of Peter Elzinga of the Netherlands, and good sportsmanship there as he and Pierre-Julien Deloche, who have known each other for a long time, competed against each other before, exchange handshakes, and a very closely contested match. We've had exactly what you expect here at a World Cup Finals.
Yeah, everyone here is here because they're the cream of the crop. They're the best in the world. You shouldn't have an easy match. It shouldn't be a one-sided match. Every match should be tough, and every match should go to the wire. But saying that, we still have some surprises.
We'd have had some surprises in the one match that was the most lopsided.